It's 9:14 on a Tuesday. The TV's on in the background. You're not even watching it that closely. Your phone buzzes, flash drop, 40% off, 12 minutes left on the timer. You know the app better than your banking app. You could check out with your eyes half closed. A $5 lip oil, a dupe of the one everyone's been talking about, already in your cart before you decided to put it there. You don't remember adding it. Your thumb just knew where to go. You tap the pink button, buy now. Order confirmed, arriving Thursday. You already know it's going in the drawer with the others, the ones still in their little pouches, never opened, doing nothing for you except existing. $5 gone. You don't feel it leave. That's the whole design. You close the app and it buzzes again before the ad breaks even over. Muscle memory. Not even a decision anymore. Do the math on that for 1 second. Before we go anywhere. $5 a night, most nights, comes out to somewhere around $1,825 a year. You couldn't tell me where a single dollar of last year's $1,825 went. Not one lip oil, not one drop. Now hold that number in your head. $5. Because this is a story about the same $5 every single night for 40 years, and about 2 different people it quietly decides you'll become. You are 25. Same couch, same night of the week, same notification lighting up the screen. This time, you swipe it away. No cart, not tonight. Your thumb hovers over the app icon for a second out of pure habit. Then it doesn't press anything. Instead, you open a different app, one you downloaded and forgot about 3 weeks ago. You move $5 into an index fund. The whole market, one tap, no research required. The balance reads $5. It looks like nothing. It looks like a joke you're playing on yourself. You do it again tomorrow, and the night after that. You set it to move on its own, so you never have to feel the decision. So the $5 leaves before your thumb finds the pink button. $152 a month, gone into something you'll never unbox and immediately forget. You barely notice it's gone. That was always the strange part. It disappeared either way. You just changed where. You are 26, 1 year in. The balance reads $1,900. You put in $1,825 of your own money. The market added $75 while you weren't looking. $75, an insult of a number. You mention it at work once. Colton, 2 desks over, asks how much you've made. You tell him. $75 in a year? He laughs, not mean, just honest. Blair, I flipped a pair for $340 this weekend. He's not wrong. He also drops $5 a night trying to cop some limited restock that sells out in 90 seconds. Most nights for nothing, and doesn't remember what he was chasing 2 weeks ago. He can tell you exactly what he flipped for profit back in March. You say nothing. You close the app. The difference between you and Colton this year is $75 and a habit nobody can see. The $75 isn't the part that matters. The habit is, you go home that night and open the shopping app out of pure reflex, thumb already moving toward the icon before your brain catches up. You catch yourself, you close it again. Nobody sees that moment. Nobody ever will. That's most of what this actually is. 1,000 small moments nobody sees. Repeated until they add up to something somebody eventually does. Somewhere around month 9, you actually test it. Because part of you doesn't believe the $5 was ever spare in the first place. You skip the transfer once, on purpose, just to see what breaks. Nothing breaks. The month doesn't collapse without it. The thing you assumed the $5 was load-bearing for turns out to have never needed it at all. You start the transfer again the next morning, a little embarrassed at how long it took to check. You are 30, 5 years in. Balance, $11,000. You contributed $9,000. The rest showed up while you slept. That same month, Colton texts you a screenshot. A coin, a ticker you've never heard of, up 340% in 9 days. He's put $3,000 in. He tells you your boring fund makes in a year what his coin makes before lunch. Come on, Blair, he says. Live a little. He's right about the speed. He's wrong about the direction. You've seen this shape before. On a screen, under a thumb, on a couch at 9:14 on a Tuesday, 12 minutes on a countdown timer. The promise that small becomes large instantly, with no time in between. That promise has a name where you're from. It's called a flash sale. You text back that you'll pass. He sends a fire emoji and buys more. 11 weeks later, the coin is down 91%. Colton stops mentioning it. He starts talking about a different coin instead. The way you talk about a different restaurant after a bad meal at the last one. You don't say, I told you so. You never do. That's not the point of any of this. And the one time you almost said it, Watching him scroll past the wreckage of his own portfolio, you caught yourself and just asked if he wanted to grab lunch instead. You keep doing the most boring thing a person can do with money. Early to bed, slow to rich. You are 33, 8 years in. A bonus lands. $4,000. More money at once than you've ever seen in a single deposit. For about 11 minutes, you think about the app. A number like $4,000 could disappear into flash drops and countdown timers so fast you'd barely feel it leave. The part of your brain still wired for the notification whispers. One good drop, maybe two, and you'd still have most of it left, it argues. It's lying. You don't open the app. You split the bonus, half into the fund, half into the emergency account you started that same year. Boring again. Boring on purpose this time, not on autopilot. Colton's bonus that year goes into a resale gamble on a drop everyone's chasing that weekend. He gets one pair out of the 4 he tried to cop. He tells you about it like it's a story with a happy ending. It isn't. It's a story with a $4,000 opening scene and no third act. You are 35. 10 years in. Balance. $27,800. You've put in $18,000. The market has handed you $9,800 for the crime of not flinching. Then the year turns. It starts in March. Your father needs a procedure that insurance covers about half of. $4,600. Due before the surgery date, no negotiation. In July, the company you work for reorganizes. Your title survives, your bonus doesn't. In October, the whole market drops. Headlines use the word crash. Your balance falls by almost a third in 6 weeks. More paper loss than you made all year at your job. 3 things in 1 year, none of them asking permission. The spreadsheet never modeled the check or the fear. Colton, who sold everything at the bottom of the last dip, tells you he saw this one coming too. He's in cash now. Safe, he says. You don't sell. It's quieter than a decision. You just stop opening the app. You let the number fall and keep the $152 leaving every month, buying the same fund while it's cheaper than it's been in years. You are not brave. You are just bored enough to do nothing. Doing nothing turns out to be the rarest skill in finance. By the time everyone agrees it's safe to come back in, your boring habit already bought the bottom nobody could see coming. You are 38, 13 years in. The market's back. Balance, $41,000. It doesn't feel like a victory. It feels like relief with the volume turned down. You think about stopping, that year more seriously than you ever have. Not because it's not working, because it's working so slowly that some weeks it doesn't feel like it's working at all. $152 a month is invisible money. Invisible money is easy to quietly stop sending. You don't stop. You don't do anything dramatic about not stopping either. You just don't open the settings page and turn it off. The transfer goes through on the 3rd, same as always, and you go back to not thinking about it. Nobody claps for the month you almost quit and didn't. That month doesn't make it into anyone's highlight reel. It's still the one that matters most. We're past the halfway mark on patience, if not yet on years. 13 years down, the doubt already survived once. This is usually where people quietly let the transfer stop. It doesn't stay a wall. Keep watching. You are 40, 15 years in. Balance, $52,600. Contributed, $27,000. For the first time, the account holds more than you ever fed it. Read that twice. It's the moment the whole thing changes shape. Up to now, you were pushing a stone uphill, $5 at a time, and the hill barely moved. Now the stone is rolling on its own. Your only job is to not stand in front of it. Colton gets laid off that spring. Second round of cuts, no warning. He has 3 weeks of savings and a resale account with $40 of unsold inventory sitting in it. He calls you, tries to sound fine, isn't fine. You can hear it in how fast he's talking. You have a number you've never touched, sitting quietly in the background. You buy his lunch, you don't mention the number. The $5 was never only about some far-off retirement. It was always also a wall between you and the version of a bad year that ends in panic. You are 45, 20 years in. Balance, $89,000. Contributed, $36,000. The money the market hands you in a year is starting to rival what you put in yourself. The account has begun working a second job you never assigned it. You check it on a random Tuesday, not because anything prompted you to, just habit now, the good kind. The number sits there, quiet, doing its own thing whether you look at it or not. That used to unsettle you a little, the first few years. Now it's the whole reason it works. Colton's back on his feet, different job, same habits. He asks, half joking. If you're still doing the boring thing, you tell him you never stopped. How much is in there now? He asks. You tell him. He goes quiet in a way you didn't ask for and don't enjoy. He changes the subject to the game that's about to start. There's a distance that's opened up by now, quiet, nothing dramatic, between you and most of the people you started out with. Not because you're better than them. Your priorities just moved somewhere theirs didn't, one $5 decision at a time, until the gap was too wide to explain at a bar over one drink. You feel it sometimes like a loneliness you can't quite name and don't bring up. The $5 was never loud. It was the one thing in the room that never needed to be. You are 48. 23 years in. Your car dies on a Thursday. Not a small thing. The whole transmission, the kind of repair that used to mean a maxed-out credit card and 6 months of minimum payments. You pay it off from checking without moving a single dollar out of the fund. You don't even think about touching the fund. That's the part that surprises you, 3 days later, replaying it. It never once occurred to you as an option. That's the actual finish line nobody puts in the pitch, not a number on a screen. The moment a $2,800 repair stops being an emergency and starts being a Thursday. You are 50. 25 years in. Balance, $144,000. Contributed, $45,000. The account has more than tripled it without asking your permission. You read the headlines differently now. They run stories about how people your age have nothing saved, how retirement is slipping out of reach for ordinary earners. You are an ordinary earner. Same job type as the people in those headlines. Same rent, roughly. Same traffic every morning. The only thing you did differently was skip a flash sale quietly for 25 years and root the difference into the most unremarkable fun that exists. Your friends talk about retirement like a cliff they're being marched toward. You talk about it like weather, something that arrives whether you worry about it or not. You don't say that part out loud. By now, you understand the number is loudest when it stays silent. A guy from your old building posts a picture that year. A boat, a caption about finally living. You know for a fact he refinanced his house twice. You say nothing there either. Nobody's Instagram caption has ever once shown the balance underneath it. You are 55, 30 years in. Balance, $226,000. Contributed, $55,000. The other $171,000 was never yours to earn. It was time's, and you just let time have the room to work. This is the year the math flips for good. The account now grows more in a strong year, on its own size, than you could add by hand even if you doubled what you put in. You've become a passenger to your own balance. The thing you built is now bigger than the building of it. A coworker half your age asks you, at lunch, how you did it. You tell her the truth, which sounds like a non-answer the first time anyone hears it. You just never let the number get big enough to notice, until it was too big to ignore. You don't talk about the number. Not to your kids, not to Colton, not to anyone. The number lives in a place nobody looks, which is exactly where it grew. You are 60, 35 years in. Balance, $346,000. Contributed, $63,900. You are not the person who has the most money in any room you walk into. You've never once been that person. You are the person nobody would ever guess has it. Your car is 11 years old. You've owned 3 phones this entire decade, all of them until the battery gave out. None of that is a sacrifice you're proud of. It's just what boring looks like from the outside, worn thin over enough years that it stops being a choice and starts being a personality. $6,100 landed in the account last month alone from growth before you added a single dollar of your own. That number isn't the point. The proof is the point. Proof that you're the kind of person who kept feeding the machine on the nights it would have been easier not to. That identity is worth more than the $6,100. Small and consistent was never the consolation prize for people who couldn't do more. It was the mechanism the whole time. You just didn't believe that at 25, standing at the same counter as everyone else, holding the same $5, you are 65. 40 years from the night you closed the app instead of opening it. Balance, $531,000. Sit with the breakdown because it's the whole story in 3 figures. Of that number, the part you actually put in, $5 at a time, most nights for 40 years, is $73,000. The other $458,000 is growth. Money you never earned an hour for, never watched leave, never watched arrive. You did not get lucky, you did not pick a winner, you did not time anything. You skipped a flash drop roughly 14,600 times in a row, and let the smallest possible amount sit in the most boring possible place for the longest possible time. That's the entire mechanism. There is no second secret, no version of this where someone hands you the $458,000 faster. The slowness was the price, and almost nobody is willing to pay in a currency that takes 40 years to clear. Colton retires the same year. Same industry the whole way through, decent guy, never missed a shift. Over 40 years, his version of the $5 also added up to $73,000. The exact same money. He bet it, mostly lost it, occasionally won it back and rebet that too. He can't tell you what a single night of it bought him. Not one. Not out of 14,000. He asks, at the retirement party, half joking again, the way he always half jokes about it. So, Blair, how much did the boring thing actually make you? You tell him. Nobody at the table says anything for a second. Then somebody changes the subject. The way people do when a number gets too big to hold in a normal conversation. Colton laughs it off eventually. The way he's laughed off every checkpoint since you were 26. But it's a different laugh now, quieter. He's doing the math himself, you can tell, the same math he refused to do for 40 years. And for the first time, he doesn't say anything about a coin or a drop or a Sunday restock. He just asks how you never once broke. You tell him the truth. You didn't never break. You just never had to feel it. Because the breaking already happened automatically, every night. Before your thumb could find the pink button, you stood at the same starting line, same $5, same nights, 40 years apart from where you'd end up. Nobody can point to the day the two of you split. There wasn't one. There were just two answers to the same $6 question, asked again every night, until the answers stopped being choices and became two different lives. Loud money needs an audience to feel real. It needs a boat in a photo, a coin up 340% on a screenshot, a table going quiet at a party so it has something to bounce off of. Quiet money doesn't need any of that. It never once asked you to post it, explain it, or defend it to anyone at a table. That was the whole trade, the entire 40 years of it, boiled down. You gave up the 5-second thrill of a countdown hitting zero. You got $458,000 you never had to feel arrive. Somewhere right now, it's 9:14 on a Tuesday. Someone's phone buzzes on the couch before they decided to look at it. A flash drop, a countdown timer, 12 minutes, then 11. A $5 something, already in the cart. Thumb finding the pink button without being told to. They're not doing anything wrong. $5 is nothing. That has always been the trap and the door, at the same time. They don't know yet that the app isn't broken. The app is working exactly the way it was built to. They were never going to feel the $5 either way. The only thing they ever got to choose was what it was quietly turning them into while they weren't paying attention. $5 tonight, into something boring instead. The machine's already open.